Welcome to Losing It 2025. Today on my second weekly update, I get to share with you 5 things that helped me lose over 20 pounds in less than 20 days. Okay, here they are. The 5 things that I did that helped me to lose over 20 pounds in less than 20 days. The first thing I did is I began to develop an attitude of mindfulness, to really be aware of my weight, of my diet, and of the correlation between those two things. I did that by tracking both my weight on a daily basis using a Renpho body fat scale, and by using an app, which I'm sure most of you are already aware of, called MyFitnessPal. I would track my weight with the Renpho scale, and I would track my daily intake of food using the Fitbit app. I also had a simple digital scale that helped me make sure that I was tracking appropriately rather than just guesstimating things. And by using those tools to create an awareness in my mind of how much I was actually eating, and how when I changed what that makeup was and how much of it I was eating and when, watching the numbers decrease on the scale, it helped me to form a connection between those two. It helped me to recognize what should seem like a simple truth, but can sometimes feel like it isn't connected, between what I was eating and how much I weighed. And that was incredibly helpful, just that, developing that mindfulness by tracking those things. Number 2, the second thing that I did that I think was a major contributor to my weight loss was I cut out late night binge eating. I have a bad habit that I'm still working on of staying up way too late. And by staying up way too late, I put myself in this zone where I would get the munchies, I'd get craving, I would want to eat something. And usually that something was a turkey sandwich and a bag of chips. That's what it usually was for me. And that sandwich and a bag of chips would turn into a sandwich and a half, or 2 sandwiches and a bag of chips, or 2 sandwiches and a bag of chips and some cookies. It would exponentially grow depending on how tired I was or how stressed I felt over various things. And so I knew that one of the things I had to do if I was going to get control of my diet and control of my weight was to cut out late night binging. Now, I'm working towards having a set time after which I don't eat. My schedule is so crazy, I haven't quite got that in place yet. But what I have managed to do is to acknowledge what my last meal of the day was, and for that to actually be my last meal of the day. To say at that moment, that's it, I'm done, I'm not eating anything else. Does that mean those late night cravings or that desire to binge eat went away? Absolutely not, I still have those. And so what I did is I employed a tool that I learned in the book, The Power of Habit, that when you have a trigger, but you need to get rid of a bad habit, rather than focusing on just getting rid of the bad habit, you take the bad habit and you replace it with a good habit that is manifested by the same trigger. So when that trigger of wanting to eat late at night would hit, instead of grabbing a sandwich and chips, I would reach for a cup of tea. And this tea right here was the kind I would use, the hot cinnamon sunset tea, which honestly has been just great. I'm gonna take a sip of it right now because I'm a little hoarse. I'm getting over a virus at the moment. But that tea has such a strong cinnamon flavor that it hits those taste buds in such a way that it satisfies that desire for something flavorful. And because it's hot and I can only sip it at first, it takes a little time. And for whatever reason, that has seemed to curtail those cravings. And so I've taken that trigger of wanting to eat late at night, I've taken the bad habit and I've replaced it with a good one. All right, so cutting out late night binge eating was number 2. The third thing that I've done that has helped me to lose over 20 pounds in less than 20 days is I have taken control of what I eat by eating out less and cooking at home more. Now, I know a lot of these sound like, well, duh, of course, these are things that everyone talks about. Look, I'm not trying to come up with anything new here. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just letting you know what I did and letting you know how it worked. So that's not to say that I've stopped eating out entirely, but we used to eat out 3, 4, 5 times a week, whether it was for breakfast or lunch or dinner. I can remember some days where we literally ate out either at a restaurant or fast food or something that we picked up at, the 7-Eleven, 3 meals in a given day. And that's just terrible. When you eat that way, when you eat things that are prepared in that fashion, you have absolutely no real control and honestly no real knowledge over what it is you're eating. And so recognizing that fact, we made the decision to eat out less and to cook at home more. And by doing that, we've gained a lot more control over the things that we eat. One tool that I want to acknowledge that has been super helpful with that is this wonderful little thing right here, this Instapot that we picked up at a Black Friday sale for almost 50% off. It was a great deal. And so by using that Instapot, it's added a level of convenience to our cooking that has helped to minimize the need to just grab takeout on the way home. So I couldn't recommend it more. If you don't have one, not a bad idea to get one, or maybe use a crock pot or batch cook, whatever you can do to add convenience to cooking and eating at home will be a huge benefit to you. All right, number 4. The fourth thing that I did that I believe has contributed in a significant way to my losing over 20 pounds in less than 20 days has been strictly reducing the amount of added sugar and highly refined carbohydrates like cookies, breads, packaged snacks, those types of foods from my diet. So that's not to say that I don't have any processed foods in my diet. I do. There are some times that I'll have processed vegan foods, or, I have had some tortilla chips, but in limited number. So we've drastically reduced the amount of processed foods and the amount of refined and added sugars from our diet. And by doing that, I've seen, I believe, a significant reduction, not only in my weight, but in the cravings that I have for the kinds of foods that are going to be detrimental to my weight loss. And finally, the fifth and final thing, and of course there were probably more that contributed, but these are the top 5. The fifth and final thing that I believe has contributed in a significant way to my weight loss over the last couple weeks has been eating a whole food plant-based diet. Yes, that's right. Not low carb, not keto, none of that. A whole food plant-based diet. I still have rice. Usually it's brown rice, occasionally white rice, but usually brown rice. I still have fruit, bananas, apples, blueberries, all kinds of wonderful foods. I eat a lot of beans. And you might say, well, wait a minute, aren't those carbs bad for you? Actually, I have seen a reduction in my fasting blood glucose level over the last 2 weeks on an average of about 5 points. It's been about a 5-point drop. I'll report more on that in a future video as I continue to watch those results. But the reality is, eating a whole food plant-based diet, along with the other behavioral changes that I've attempted to make over the last 16 days, has resulted in a 23-pound weight loss. So there you have it. That's update number 2 from Losing It 2025. Thanks for tuning in. You can expect another update next Wednesday. Have a blessed day.